If Tesla feels stuck right now, this is the conclusion I want to share with you first. This is
This is
not
not weakness.
weakness. This
It's
is
the
the
market
market
changing
changing how
how
it
it evaluates
evaluates
Tesla.
Tesla. And
And
in
in
the
the
next
next
few
few
minutes,
minutes, I
I
want
want
to
to
help
help
you
you understand
understand why
why
Tesla
Tesla
isn't
isn't
moving.
moving,
What does the
what the
market
market
is
is
really
really
waiting
waiting
for?
for,
And
and
how
how
long-term
long term
investors
investors
should
should
be
be reading
reading
this
this phase
phase calmly
calmly
instead
instead
of
of
emotionally.
emotionally. If
If
you've
you've
been
been
looking at
looking
the
at the
chart
chart
and
and
think
thinking, it
it
looks
looks
like
like
it could
could
go
up,
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 but
but
it
it
doesn't,
doesn't, or
or
it
it
feels
feels like
like
it could
it.
drop, but it doesn't, you're not missing anything. In fact, you're seeing the market exactly as it is. Hi, this is Ken. Today, several Tesla related updates came out, but honestly, I think many investors feel uncertain right now. The stock looks like it wants to move, but it doesn't commit. It looks fragile, but it doesn't break. And when we see a market like this, a very natural reaction is, am I missing something important? So let me be clear from the start. This is not a video where I force a buy or sell conclusion. Today is about how to look at Tesla correctly in this moment, because the way you interpret this phase will matter later. Let's quickly organize what actually happened today. Tesla is trading around the mid $430 range. It's slightly up compared to yesterday, but this is not a breakout. It's also not a breakdown. Selling pressure isn't aggressive, but buying pressure isn't decisive either. In short, the market has no clear direction right now. On the news side, we saw three main things. First, Tesla shares have recovered somewhat, but overall market sentiment remains cautious. Second, analysts who were previously very bearish slightly raised their price targets. However, those targets are still relatively low. This is not a dramatic change in conviction. Third, and this is important, we're seeing more activity around autonomy and robotaxis, not just from Tesla, but across the industry. Waymo, AI, and semiconductor players, traditional automakers. It feels like the entire autonomy space is quietly entering its next phase. Now, taken individually, none of these headlines are strong enough to move Tesla stock meaningfully. And this is where today's most important point begins. What all of these updates have in common is this: the market's attention is shifting away from short term stock price movement and toward a much bigger question. Can autonomous driving actually be deployed in the real world? For a long time, Tesla was evaluated mainly on short term metrics: deliveries, price cuts, margins. Those numbers still matter, but they are no longer the main lens. The market is now asking something different. Who can deploy autonomy first? In what form? At what speed? And at what scale? And this shift explains something that confuses many investors: why good news doesn't lead to sharp rallies, why bad news doesn't cause collapses. This is not a market that is lost. This is a market that is searching for a new scoring system. Here's an important reframing: what looks like indecision is not fear, it's evaluation. If you misunderstand this phase, you might think nothing is happening or this is disappointing. But beneath the surface, something very real is happening. The criteria used to value Tesla is quietly changing, and that kind of change never happens loudly. Before we go further, let me share one slightly unexpected fact. Historically, some of Tesla's most important re ratings did not begin with explosive price moves. They began with long periods of flat, frustrating price action, not because the story weakened, but because the market needed time to relearn how to value Tesla. That's uncomfortable in real time, but obvious in hindsight. So, the key question now becomes this: is what we're seeing just short term noise or the beginning of a deeper shift? In terms of price movement alone, this is still short term noise. Technically speaking, the current level is simply part of a recovery process. Trying to force meaning into every small move right now often leads to bad decisions. But what's happening beneath the price is different. autonomy and robotaxis are no longer discussed as Tesla's future dream. They are being discussed as an industry-wide race, and that distinction matters because when a theme moves from expectation to execution, the market's behavior changes, slowly at first, then all at once. From here, the perspective needs to widen. So next, I want to zoom out and explain where Tesla sits strategically in this shift, why the market is waiting rather than reacting, and what signals long-term investors should actually be watching. That's where the real clarity begins. So let's zoom out and raise the perspective. Where exactly does Tesla sit in this shift the market is going through? The key change is this: Tesla is no longer being evaluated in isolation. It's being evaluated in comparison. In the past, Tesla's autonomy story was often treated as something abstract, a bold vision, a long-term promise. Because of that, the market tended to focus heavily on short-term numbers, vehicle deliveries, price cuts, margins. Whenever those numbers disappointed, the stock reacted sharply. But today, something is different. Tesla's autonomy narrative is no longer alone. Waymo is deploying real-world services. AI chip makers are positioning autonomy as their next growth engine. Traditional automakers are quietly trying to catch up. This is no longer about who has the best idea. It's about who can execute first at scale in reality. That's why the market isn't rushing. Institutions are not piling in, but they're also not walking away. They're waiting, and this waiting phase is often misunderstood. Flat price action doesn't mean low confidence. It means delayed commitment. From an investor psychology perspective, this is important. Large capital doesn't move on hope. It moves on confirmation. Confirmation looks like this: clear autonomy deployment, real-world usage data, regulatory progress that actually unlocks scale, earnings where autonomy-related signals begin to matter more than car margins. Until those pieces appear, patience is not weakness, it's discipline. Now, let's compare this moment to Tesla's past. There was a time when autonomy was treated as science fiction, something that might happen far in the future. Back then, the market reacted aggressively to short-term delivery numbers because there was nothing else concrete to anchor value. But now, autonomy is no longer a question of if, it's a question of who, where, and how fast. That shift alone changes how Tesla should be viewed. This is why I don't see the current market as bullish or bearish. It's not optimism, it's not fear, it's evaluation. The market is waiting for the next layer of evidence before choosing a direction. And when that evidence arrives, the move will not be subtle. So the question becomes, what should investors do right now? Here's the most important line I want to leave you with today. Today is not a day where you need a conclusion. Not acting is not failure. Staying patient is not missing out. In fact, moving too early often carries more risk than waiting. This phase is best used to prepare, not to react. Preparation means understanding what actually matters next. Where will autonomy be deployed first? In what form will robotaxis enter daily life? Which metrics will the market reward and which will it ignore? If you can answer those questions calmly, you're already ahead of most participants. The news today wasn't exciting, but markets rarely announce turning points with fireworks. They usually look quiet, boring, frustrating, and only later do people realize that was the moment everything started to change. So as Tesla continues to move through this phase, try to hold this perspective. What feels slow now is often the foundation for what comes next. Short-term price movement will come and go, but long-term value is built in moments like this. Quietly, when the market finally commits, today's discussion will make sense in hindsight. Until then, the goal isn't to predict every move. It's to stay grounded, informed, and patient. That's all for today. If this video helped you think more clearly about Tesla, feel free to leave a like. I post daily analysis focused on long-term understanding, not short-term noise. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I'd be glad to have you here. Let's continue watching Tesla. Not emotionally, but intelligently. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Before we wrap up, let me take a moment to introduce myself. I drive a Tesla Model Y, and at home, I've installed a Tesla Powerwall, so I actually charge my car with solar energy. I truly believe Tesla is shaping the future, and that's why I share the latest news and insights here on this channel. I'm from Japan, but I want to connect with Tesla fans all around the world. That's why I also create an English version of my videos. YouTube now lets you switch the audio into your own language, so you can enjoy it in whatever language you prefer. Most of all, I'd love to connect with Tesla fans everywhere so we can support Tesla together. I also share updates on X, so feel free to follow me there and let's connect. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.